Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I feel like it was literally just Tuesday, like 2 days ago. I was like, it can't already be time for me to go live again, but it is. And I'm excited because it's a new year and I love the new year because I love like a fresh start moment. Um, so that's kind of why I wanted to do this topic. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of like losing my voice for some reason, just allergies, I guess. But a friend and I were talking about our 2026 like ins and outs. I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with that. It's kind of like honestly, it's kind of like a millennial take on like a New Year's resolution, like what's in, what's out. And it kind of just means like the things you want to do better, do more of, do less of, start doing, completely cut off, that kind of thing. And the more we talked about it, the more I kind of started thinking about just work and how relevant this is to nurse entrepreneurs specifically and just nurses in general because nurses are really good at pushing through and carrying a lot and telling ourselves that like this is just how it has to be and this is my job and this is what I signed up for and just accepting things that maybe allowing ins that should be outs is what I'm trying to say. So today I just wanted to talk about some of the ins and outs of 2026 for nurses and nurse entrepreneurs, especially kind of through the lens of improving your day-to-day life as a nurse entrepreneur and not just your business on paper, but how it actually feels to live your life as a business owner. So I wanted to start with the outs instead of the ins because I think the things you stop doing in your life can honestly make a bigger difference than the things you start a lot of the time. Um, and I have millions of these from my personal life and also millions of recommendations like negative self-talk and you know, emotional spending or, you know, these kind of things. But specific to nurse entrepreneurship, my first out is hustling just to prove that you are legitimate. I think a lot of us came from environments where we have to constantly prove our worth. Like we want our manager or our charge nurse to see that we can handle it so we can be eligible for a raise or whatever, or get the special treatment like that day off, or you kind of just have to constantly prove your worth. And that can follow you into business if you're not careful. So you have to be careful not to work yourself into an exhaustion just to feel valid. That is definitely an out, which kind of goes hand in hand with my second one, which is saying yes out of guilt. So if they ask you to come in and you just worked 4 days in a row, but you feel guilty saying no, or you feel guilty charging what you're worth when you're a nurse entrepreneur, guilty taking time off because they're already shorthanded. Just because you can do the hard things does not mean everything has to be hard. Not everything should fall on your back. So saying yes out of guilt is definitely an out. Another big out is being busy all day, but not actually moving the needle. Now, this is more specific to nurse entrepreneurs, and I feel this so deeply. Sometimes I feel like I'm so busy all day, I don't have a second to like just chill out. And then I'm like, what did I actually get done today? I worked on one task that wasn't even a top priority, and I got it done, and now I can't do anything with it because it was kind of pointless. So having like full calendars and endless to-do lists and then still feeling behind at the end of the day, OUT, that's out. Being busy without English. Being busy without measurable progress is going to be a no for 2026. It's something we got to leave behind. Also, if you are watching and you have any outs, put them on the screen. I'm really curious to see what anybody else would say their ins and outs are. Um, Another one, overcomplicating everything. Now, we've talked about this before, having too many offers, too many platforms, too many ideas going at the same time. It confuses your audience, and like complexity does not equal success. It usually causes burnout and confusion. So find the tools that help you the most and utilize those. You know, I've been using this one called TickTick, and not to be confused with TikTok, which I also use too much. That should be an out for this year, but maybe next year. I'm not ready to let it go yet. But it's really good. It's kind of like a Notion or an Asana, but I think it's really helped keep me organized and helped show me I'm a checkbox type person. I like to have a to-do list. So I think having the tools that can really help you measure your what you're doing, your tasks, and ultimately show you what you're doing every day to kind of undercomplicate things. I think that could be really helpful. And then my last one, and probably the biggest one, is recreating that sense of bedside burnout in your own business. So when you leave bedside, why? Because it's exhausting, it's overstimulating, it's, I'm trying to think of the word right now, but it's just not. I need someone to help me out with this, but you get like emotionally drained. You're constantly putting yourself last. You're not making enough money. Not sustainable. That's what I was thinking of. But if you're not careful when you create your own business, you can get right back into that same environment just with a different title and a different set of tasks. So if your business is always requiring you to be on all the time, if you're always checking your messages, if you're feeling like you're not ever in the moment in your personal life, if you're saying yes when you're already on dead E, if you feel anxious when you're not working, or if you end the day feeling just as drained as you did after a 12-hour shift at the hospital, then something is off, because the goal was not to escape from one form of burnout and go to another one. The idea was, to make your life better by doing the job that brings you joy and makes you feel fulfilled and allows you to live a life that's balanced. So just because you own the business does not mean you're free. So that is something we're definitely an out this year, recreating bedside burnout in your own business. For 2026, we don't want the goal to be how much can you handle. That's out for sure. It's to build something that supports your energy, your life, your nervous system. You shouldn't feel like you're always constantly recovering from the day before. It shouldn't feel like you're in survival mode all the time. If it does, then it's probably time to use that as like feedback, and use that feedback to make a positive change. Feedback doesn't mean failure. Feedback doesn't mean you have to go back to the discomfort of bedside or whatever. It just means it's time to make a change, which is perfect for a new year. Now I want to talk about the ins. And then again, if you just joined, please put your ins and outs for 2026 in the message box. I'm really curious to see what you guys are saying is in and out. The ins that I put for nurse entrepreneurs are: one, simplicity. That's like my word for the year. Peace and simplicity. Simpler offers, clearer messaging, fewer things that actually matter and make a bigger difference. So I always, literally, my favorite thing to say is narrowed focus. So pick a couple things that make a big difference, do less, do it best, focus on those things. Another in is building a business that fits your life. Obviously, this isn't like a fantasy schedule or this fake idea of success, but something that actually works for you. Like I tell people are always like, "Oh my gosh, you have so much flexibility," and that is true. And if I want to go have lunch with a friend in the middle of my day, I can do that. But a lot of times I am working till like 10 p.m. So it's not a fantasy schedule, okay? But that works for me, because what's important to me is that I get to, oh, what's going on there? What's important to me is that I can nurture my relationships and have a lot of flexibility within my schedule, and I'm not stuck in a hospital for 12 hours. So building a business that fits your life, that might mean for you, like you like slow mornings, you like to do a devotional and drink your coffee, or you like to sleep until 9, or you like very clear work hours, or you like time to rest throughout your day. When you own your own business, you do have the freedom to create a schedule like that, which is the best part. And I will die on this hill. That's the best part, the flexibility, and the money, obviously. Another big in, boundaries without explanations. You do not owe everyone access to you. Period, point blank. You do not owe everyone access to you. You don't need a reason to protect your time. Boundaries are not a character flaw. It doesn't make you rude to say no. If you're on dead E, you should say no. So if you're thinking like, I'm trying to build this business, I want to be successful, but you are an empty cup, you got to just say no. You can't pour from it. Take some time to refill yourself and then follow up with those people. Okay, another N, systems that support you. That one's important. And that goes back to my tick thing. It's really helped me organize my day. It's really helped me organize my task. I'm back in school. So I have like a school, a personal, a work, different buckets that I can put all these things in. And once I click them off, I'm seeing like, wow, I'm really making good progress today. And it helps me stay organized. So nothing fancy, even small systems, templates, workflows, blocked off calendar time, all these things can really completely reshape how you feel, and it can be really helpful in the day-to-day. So I really recommend that. Even if you're just someone that likes to write on a post-it note, just do that every single day. Stay consistent, use the small systems that can support you. Okay, I've just got a few more N's. Another N, community. Oh, I'm sorry. That's my biggest one and best one. I'm going to save that for last. Confidence before perfection. That one's huge. You do not need to be 100% ready to start. You do not have to have it all figured out. You do not have to wait for a perfect time. It's kind of like when people say, it's a perfect time to, like when someone's like, I'm just waiting on the perfect time to have kids. Well, there's never going to be a perfect time. So you just got to kind of do it. I've just heard that. I don't have kids, but I've heard that. So you don't need to have it all figured out. Clarity is going to come from the action, not the waiting period. So how are you ever going to know if you're able to do it if you never try to do it? And my last one, which is my favorite one and the most important one to me, community over comparison. This is one of my favorite quotes ever. No man is an island. I believe that so deeply, like in life and business and everything, in sports and everything you do, you're not meant to do it alone. We were not created to be alone. You're not behind because someone else is further ahead. You can really rely on other people to help you out. Growth is not a race. So it's a journey. And when you're not doing it by yourself, it's way better. Being a part of a community is super important, like the NNBA. Obviously, I'm going to plug the NNBA because I think it's wonderful. I think it's a game changer. You can connect with nurses who have been exactly where you are, who have asked the same questions, felt the same doubts, faced the same rejection, and kept going, and now are living the life they were, always dreaming of. So honestly, I think one of the best places to feel that is at the NNBA conference, which is going to be in July this year, July 16th through the 18th. Just being in the room with people that have done it, people who are building and dreaming and are pivoting and cheering each other on, it really makes such a difference. And you leave with clarity, you leave with confidence, you make new connections, and also it's just inspiring and reminds you that you can absolutely do more. So when you surround yourself with people that want to see you win, growth feels exciting and it feels possible. And I just think the journey feels a lot lighter. Also, they say, you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with the most. So that's something to consider too. If you hang around a bunch of people who always say, I wish, maybe someday, I don't know, I'm too scared, then do you think you're going to be the one to be able to be like, I'm going to do it? Or hanging out with a bunch of people that are like, I wanted to make a change, so I did. Which one do you think would be more inspiring for you? Think about that. So I kind of just want you to think about this, and I want to leave you with this, that your business should add to your life. What you're doing with your job, even if you don't own your own business, what you're doing should add to your life. It should not drain it. You should not feel like you need days of recovery after one day of work. I used to feel like that when I worked 16-hour shifts. I would be like, great, I have 4 days off, but I need 2 of those 4 days to just like emotionally recover. There was so much emotional labor, so much stress. I was so burnt out. And I did not come into what I'm doing now so I could feel just as exhausted, just like in a different way. Mental exhaustion, I think, is way worse than physical exhaustion. So You're allowed to rest without guilt. You're allowed to want ease. You're allowed to make these ins and outs that work for you. My ins might be your outs. Your outs might be my ins. So build something that feels good and actually works to support your life. That's the whole point. So take a moment and think about it. I would really like for you guys to or put it in the chat. What is one thing that is out for you in 2026? What is one thing you're totally ready to let go? Is that like negative thinking? Is that overworking yourself, bad boundaries? What is something you want more of? So you have to get rid of X. What is something that is an in for you? Is it positive thinking? Is it taking that first step? Is it making a business plan? Sometimes the smallest shifts can make the most dramatic change. They can make the biggest difference. It doesn't require like a complete reset. You don't have to start from zero. Just take one small step. So if this resonated with you, you're not behind. Every experience is refining you. You don't have to figure all of it out on your own. And I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to hopefully pour into yourself and being here with me to learn more about how you can be a better nurse entrepreneur. And I'm especially excited because tomorrow we're actually recording our very first Nurse Business Insider podcast episode, which that, if you don't know, is going to be exclusively available to active nurse members. These are going to be way more like high impact, longer, deeper, high value conversations that you won't hear anywhere else. It's not so much like me talking and giving tips and inspiration. This is you hearing from nurse entrepreneurs that have done it and how they did it and what they recommend. It would be super, super valuable for anyone that wants to learn more about what's possible in their career. And lastly, just a quick reminder, early bird tickets for the NNBA conference are available now. So right now, it's the lowest price that you can get them for. If you've been thinking about coming, this is definitely the best time to register. We're going to be in Scottsdale, Arizona at the gorgeous Scottsdale Resort and Spa. And I'm so excited for this. It's really looking like it's going to be our biggest event yet and our most exciting. We have member-led events. We have events at the resort. We have obviously 3 days packed full of amazing speakers and impact intensives and all kinds of stuff. So if you're not a member, join us. If you don't have your registration yet, please go ahead and get it. Book your room. 2026 is going to be a major year of growth for NNBA and for you. And we want you growing with us. So thank you so much for listening. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week.